People, deluded, I'm back again. Now, yesterday we obviously lost 2-1 to Brighton. Arsenal and losing, you know, it's a great mix right now for opposition fans. You know, we've conceded 5 goals this week, you know, 2 defeats, completely different games, but the one variable is, you know, cheap goals, sloppy goals. You know, these 5 goals, I hope these players are going home, getting them USBs, which Emery was on, and looking at all these 5 goals as well, whether you played or not. Because I guarantee you, every player that's played some point this season, whether it's Europa League, Carling Cup, Premier League, you know, whatever, these goals, you've been involved in some sort of situation like that. And the thinking at this club, you know, as much as you can talk about tactics and technical ability, it's the thinking that needs to change. Is, you know, the best footballers are the best thinkers. They see the story. The best defenders, they might not, you know, we all know the Hollywood stuff is, you know, the mad slide tackle war. You know, Van Dijk will get praised more for, you know, an opposition breaking through and he's come and slid than he would for, you know, he's read the situation before, stepped out, passed it. The best defenders see the game and make the tackles for it's happened. Best attackers, for all Messi's technical ability, he's seen what to do before it's happened now. So with that, we've got to promote active thinkers. Why do you think Saka, even though his decision making can improve, he's one of the best young players? Because when you strip it to the bottom, his decision making and his thinking and ability to assess situations and keep a cool head are better than the likes of Nelson's, Joes and things like that. You know, only Martinelli out of them young G's can really chat to him. That's not me disrespecting the other young players, that's just a fact. And it's the thinking. We've got to promote active thinkers, because Arteta can talk until he's blue in the face. You've got to be able to promote active thinking, really and truly. You know, defenders have to say to themselves, be able to have that mental capacity to stop, like for the second goal, and say, I'm looking on my left, I'm looking on my right, I can't see no one, I'm in trouble. Midfielders have to clock, it's late in the game, let me drop and help. Strikers, let me press where I don't need to press. Or let my decision, you know, decision making, promoting active thinkers. Players have to be, I don't think, as much as I want Arteta shouldn't have to tell them what to do all the time, the ramifications of winning and losing. They should be able to do this. Mentally, they should be able to manage out a game. They should be able to think to themselves, well, 1-0 up against Brighton, you know, they've gone 2 up front, there's 15 minutes or so left, let's shut out the game, let's, you know, let's manage it, let's walk away with this 1-0 victory. No, you somehow managed to lose, you know. The many different game management, coming from behind, not conceding, seeing out a lead, all of these sort of things, off the field, ramifications on and off it, for winning, losing and drawing. You have to promote active thinkers, and I think these players have, it's a bad cocktail of just being poor players, poor form, poor tactically, poor technically, and just poor, the way we think is poor. Again, injuries can, Lord knows as an Arsenal fan, I've seen potential career-ending injuries. But injuries, conceding goals, fans, these are all setbacks and variables you should, especially if you want to be top 4 and do all these things, you should be able to deal with. And we're not able to deal with them. So it's quite sad, people. It's the same old, and this is why we've got 13 draws. This is why we've only won 3 times away from home. This is why we're in this mess, and we're gonna keep sloping down. I'd love to believe the board and all of these lot are sitting there and looking and saying we need to invest. I hope they do. A blind man, as I keep saying in every vid, a blind man could see we need to invest, people. But beyond that, something needs to change, and the players have got to be the ones to do it, really and truly. Now, obviously, if we look at it from a tactical point of view, people, we were playing a 4-3-3 of such. I think it was a bit different because, you know, let's talk about Bukayo Saka. I feel in real terms, pardon me, people, you obviously you had Lacazette, you had Pepe, you had Laka. Now in real terms, Laka was probably more here. Saka had the freedom of the city. Like you saw, Saka was playing in centre mid, but he was pulling out to this left hand side a lot to link up with Aubameyang and link up with so on. He was also taking up roles within this 10 position, but primarily he was playing out here and drifting out here and things. Same way Aubameyang, you saw numerous times you saw him doing that. In fact, at times you even saw Saka up here, midfield here. You know, Ceballos is typically further up forward than Guendouzi. Guendouzi was at the base throughout the whole game, taking off passes. And obviously you had Kolasinac here. And you had Pepe a bit wider, so you could see it. We was pressing quite well. We was doing. I could see the logic behind it. Personally, I know Aubameyang can play on the left-hand side and stuff, but I'm at the point now, people. I think we just need to play Aubameyang through the middle, Saka or Martinelli there, or even Saka in midfield. I didn't mind it, people. I think he controlled it well. I think his passing was good. He obviously drifted out here and got a lovely pass. Got a pass for Pepe to cut in and shoot. In fact, that's probably the one positive, people, throughout that game. If I just put everybody back in position quickly, because it makes it easier. It was a lovely 7-8 pass. It started out from out here. I think Aubameyang was actually out wide. Ceballos, this is Saka. Ceballos actually played a little 1-2. Eventually it led to Saka. It's primarily them two. It was about 6-7 passes. Eventually Saka played it to my man. You know, my man Pepe banged it and scored, people. And that was the only benefit I could see. For Pepe, it was a lovely goal, good for his confidence and the move, because it was 7-8 passes. I did feel even in the first half, I feel the only time we looked really dangerous, first 10. We looked brighter than Brighton. Seriously. But beyond that, even by the flip token of that, 7-8 passes, but Brighton, were cutting us open in 7-8 passes as well, people, which was quite annoying to obviously be a part and witness. If I just put this back into a 4-3-3, what you saw with Brighton as well kind of shocked us, because like you saw, you had, primarily they were attacking us, in my opinion, down the left-hand side. You had Moy doing his thing out there. You had Tossart, who at times, you know, would go with Mupe and join and make a two-man up front, but would also drop into the midfield and try to be a creator and show his technical ability, or sometimes just go up there. You know, Mupe, he's not a back-to-goal sort of striker, so he's getting in these channels, people, and he was doing quite well on the left-hand side. Like you saw even in the little thing that happened with Leno, where he came out, it's all coming from being on the shoulder, essentially. In fact, I'm skipping ahead a bit, but the second goal, people, we conceded, if you remember it rightly, it's come from something like this. Holding and Mustafi are unaware. Mupe and I believe Connolly. Bellerin's caught up here. Bellerin should actually be getting back to tuck in. But if you look at it, it's come from an area, without to scale, it's come from out here primarily, people. The effort has come from out here. Bellerin should be bursting a gut to get into this position, and I'll tell you why. We failed to deal with it now, people. If you look at it, Mupe actually comes back from an offside position. Good striking play from him. Mustafi, I believe, is unaware. Holding is unaware of Connolly as well. If you remember correctly now, the ball's come in, however it's come in. Mupe's jumped over the ball. My man's done a lovely little, because obviously they work on it, they've got a good communication. My man, he's dummied it. My man's done a little spin, played it like a little spin pass, and he's ran onto it. But then it's too late, because my man's, Mustafi's not looking over his shoulder. Holding's not looking over his shoulder. In the build-up, you can see both strikers actually begin to make their runs, people. Yeah? By then, the spin pass has been played. He's onside. You know, Mustafi's the wrong side of him. Bellerin should be tucking in. Apologies, people, it's getting hard holding that. But why I say Bellerin should tuck in, and I'm not blaming Bellerin, but if it did happen, if he did spin him, yeah, if he did spin him and it happened and the ball's come in, Bellerin, me being a right back as well, Bellerin reads that, probably still scores, but Bellerin can potentially get across. But either way, we're not paying attention. He span it in and he's played it in, and I did feel even Martinez potentially came out a bit too early, but there was a problem with that. I feel in the first half we was holding it up. We've still obviously got problems creating. I feel Guendouzi, especially because Arteta used to play that role, there's a lot of work to be done there. I think we was generally holding it up. You know, Moy was, the primary threats was Moy doing his thing out there. When it did come proper in the midfield, men were doing what they needed to do. Mupe looked a threat on the left hand side and shown why, you know, he's, you know, scored the winning goal at home and away against us this season, really and truly, which has kind of harmed us. I think we did struggle when they just said fuck it and went 2 up front, people, sort of thing. When they went with a 2 up front and their midfield started to get into the game a bit more and get on top of us, on top of their obvious height advantage, Brighton got into the game. You saw that more in the second half. Dan Burn, you know, he's not a left back by trade, but he's been playing there. I think, you know, on the hand Pepe scored, but I think they can both come away with, what's the word, like sort of, you know, I think they both did well. I don't know the word or the phrase, but I think they both did well. I think Pepe scored and Dan Burns got the victory, but I think it was a good battle between them two, really and truly. And I'm sure they expressed that between each other at the end of the game, people. It was nice, obviously, seeing, to go back to Saka. Saka, I really liked him in this role because he realised when I had to tuck in, when I had to help, when Aubameyang's gone up to help Lacazette, I can go out here. He also took up the 10 position as well, which I liked, especially when Guendouzi's got the ball here. Ceballos is going to drop slightly, and we've got to be there. I think even though that's Joe's natural role, you could see why Saka is obviously better in that role. If you give me a second, people, one goal which was annoying was the corner, because like I said now, yeah, we know when you play Brighton, set pieces, they're bigger than us, they're taller than us, it's going to be a problem for us. And I felt typically they looked a threat from set pieces, but we was doing quite well, people. We was doing okay, and to be done by a short corner only a couple of minutes after scoring is unacceptable. Simply and shortly, people, really and truly. I'm not to scale, of course, But if you lot remember correctly now, yeah, they've played a quick free kick, quick corner, quick set piece. It's a quick set piece that's done us, you know. By then, we're not switched on. I believe this is toss out. I could have been wrong, and I think Saka was the closest man. But my man's not picked up properly, clearly because we're marking zonally. The ball's kind of fell in his area, and he's done his best to make a mess of it. Obviously, that's Saka. Let's just say this is Holding. Holding's in the box, and there's a bit of a scruffle and all of these sort of things, and it's bounced off him. But we wasn't initially picking up my man when the ball came in eventually from the short corner, and nobody picked up Dunk. There's no coincidence. Sorry, Dunk was able to overpower everybody and then go and score. It's another game where we engineered our own problems, really and truly, people. And it's another game where, you know, last 10, 15 minutes, even though we scored towards the end, you know, we threw this away in the last 10, 15 minutes. We scored in the 60-odd minute. They scored in the 75th. Then they obviously scored in added on time. So we've thrown this away in the last 10, 15 minutes. I guarantee if you go through a lot of Arsenal results, even the ones we've turned around and won, how many draws have we, you know, conceded a late goal? How many times have we needed to score a late goal? How many times have we been condemned to defeat because of 2 cheap late goals? Late goals, cheap goals are a constant theme of Arsenal. It goes back to game management. They can talk about Arteta needs to tell them what to do until they're blue in the face. There's nobody on this football field who can sort things out, and you need 11 men that can solve their problems, people. You think them Liverpool players, I'm using them as an example because they're the league champions, you don't think they're sorting these problems out? You don't think Robertson is saying Van Dijk, you need to mark him, Van Dijk saying Gomez saying no, Van Dijk, look at him. The manager can tell you things till you're blue in the face, but the players have to be able to sort this out. And to put it nicely, it feels like these are a bunch of under-7s. You know, when you have an under-7s team, obviously they're little kids. You have to sit down and talk with them and really walk them through everything. It seems the same, man, and it really is a problem, people. The only benefit, like I said, for me today was probably Saka's performance in an unnatural role, and obviously Pepe scoring, and the sequence that led to Pepe scoring with Ceballos, Martinez and Aubameyang being involved, people. Obviously, I think it was sad on Bellerin as well for the first goal, because he actually did well to knock it out from a corner from that defensive aspect, people. Like, do you know what? There's no point even doing this stuff as well, because, you know, when Brighton started to wake up and feel they had a chance in the game, they started to win. That's what you get. As long as you stay in the game against Arsenal, you don't concede too many goals, teams believe they can have a chance. And you saw that with the tactical changes. I feel Potter outsmarted Arteta because he made his changes quicker as well. I think this is a game for Arteta to learn a lot. I did think, I can never say his name, Busama, I can't say his name, man. The midfielder, man, the black guy in midfield, done a number on us for a couple of seasons now. Did a good job in midfield, breaking up play and stuff. Don't know how he didn't get booked, but we lost the midfield battle in the second half. We lost the midfield battle the last 10, people. Because really, the first half was nothing. Really and truly, there was nothing. The most exciting thing was sadly Leno's injury. There was nothing. First 10-5, it was a bit cagey. There was a bit... Throughout the whole game, there was sloppy passes. Second half opened up a bit for both teams, but for a large part in that second half, Arsenal were the ones on top. Aubameyang looked like the one to actually score. And then we threw it away, people. We allowed them to build momentum. That's the thing. This is why you need to kill off teams. You need to smell blood and go for it. Don't give teams hope, because they'll always take it against Arsenal. And that's it, really and truly. It's another theme. Late goals, cheap goals, inability to manage games, going back to our poor game management and our weak mentality. It's that simple, literally. Or it's that simple in my opinion anyways, people. But on that note, I've got nothing more to say. In fact, finally, all I want to say is thank you for obviously watching my videos. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'm seeing a lot of PayPal donations. It means a lot, people. Thank you very much for doing that. If you want details on that, it's in my description or it's in the comments at this point. Thank you very much for just supporting me at this moment in time, and definitely showing your enthusiasm watching my content when Arsenal has not been decent. Thank you very much for voting for me in the Football Content Awards. Fingers crossed we bring that one home. If not, it is what it is. But for now, people, I'm out, man.